Last Sunday, Abigail decided it was finally time to tackle the clutter in the attic. Amid the layers of dust and forgotten treasures, her eyes landed on an old, faded toy box. With a resigned sigh, she resolved to discard it, dismissing it as just another relic of childhood long past its prime. The box was heavier than expected, and as she lugged it downstairs, its weight scraped against the wooden floor, filling the quiet house with a haunting, resonant sound. From his bedroom window, Ryan, her son, caught sight of her effort. Alarmed, he bolted downstairs, his face pale and breathless with urgency. "It's just some old junk," Abigail said, her tone soft but puzzled as she tried to calm him. But the look on his face, part terror, part heartbreak, made her pause. He looked as if he had just encountered a ghost. "But it's not," Ryan exclaimed, his breath quickening. "There's something important in there." Abigail hesitated, puzzled. She had never seen him so attached to an item before. To her, the contents of the box were merely remnants of a childhood long gone, a jumble of action figures, broken crayons, and faded school awards. Reluctantly, Abigail brought the box back inside, placing it down with a heavy thud in the living room. Ryan knelt beside it, his hands trembling as he lifted the lid. The familiar sight of old toys met his eyes, but it wasn't the toys he was searching for. He quickly began rummaging through the clutter, desperately seeking something hidden deeper. As he searched, his fingers brushed against a false bottom in the box, a secret compartment he hadn't noticed before. His heart raced as he hesitated, unsure of what to do next. Abigail leaned closer, her curiosity piqued. "What's that?" she asked, sensing that something was off. "Nothing. I'll look at it later," he muttered, a flush creeping up his neck. Abigail watched him close the compartment, a sense of unease washing over her. Something wasn't right, but she decided to give him space, hoping he would open up when he was ready. That night, dinner was unusually quiet. Abigail noticed Ryan pushing his food around his plate, lost in thought. The sight of the hidden compartment nagged at her, her maternal instincts urging her to dig deeper. She wanted to respect her son's privacy but couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was troubling him was serious. Later, as Ryan lay in bed staring at the ceiling, memories flooded back. He recalled the day he found that special item, a shiny, forgotten treasure tucked away in the park, barely visible under a bush. It had gleamed in the sunlight, catching his eye immediately. He had picked it up, marveling at its beauty, but instead of returning it, fear had gripped him. He worried what others might think, so he had slipped it into his pocket, intending to hide it forever. Now that guilt weighed heavily on him. The thought of what he had done gnawed at him. He realized he couldn't hide it forever. It was time to face the truth. Tomorrow, he would talk to his mother and be honest, hoping she could help him figure out what to do about the item he had taken. The next morning, Abigail woke up with a sense of determination. She could feel that something was still bothering Ryan. After breakfast, she decided to approach him gently. "Ryan, can we talk about the toy box?" she asked, her tone soft and inviting. Ryan looked up, a mixture of fear and relief crossing his face. "Yeah, Mom, I'd like that," he said quietly. They sat together on the couch, and Abigail took a deep breath. "Ryan, I know that box means a lot to you. You seemed really upset yesterday. Can you tell me what's going on?" Ryan hesitated, his heart pounding. "There's something I found a while ago," he admitted, his voice trembling. "It's in that secret compartment. I didn't want to tell you because I was scared." Abigail nodded, encouraging him to continue. "It's okay, you can trust me. Whatever it is, we can figure it out together." Taking a deep breath, Ryan opened up about the shiny object he had taken from the park. He explained how beautiful it had seemed and how, in a moment of fear, he had chosen to keep it instead of returning it. Abigail listened intently, her heart aching for her son. "I didn't mean to steal it, Mom. I didn't know what to do," Ryan said, tears welling in his eyes. Abigail reached out, pulling him into a comforting hug. "It's okay, sweetie. We all make mistakes. What matters is that you're being honest with me now." They discussed what Ryan could do next and decided together that he would return the item to the park. It was an important step for him, a way to make amends and let go of the guilt. He had carried the burden for so long. As the day unfolded, Abigail felt proud of Ryan for facing his fears. They walked to the park together, hand in hand, ready to put the past behind them. Ryan's heart raced as they approached the spot where he had found the object. With a sense of relief, he placed it back where it belonged, letting go of the burden he had been carrying. In that moment, he felt lighter, a weight lifted off his shoulders. Abigail smiled at him, knowing that this experience had brought them closer together. They walked home, the sun shining brightly, and Ryan felt ready to embrace new adventures, free from his secret. Days passed, and they found themselves reflecting on their shared experience. Abigail and Ryan began speculating about the origins of the ring, imagining various scenarios of how it might have ended up in the park. Maybe it belonged to someone who moved away, Ryan suggested one afternoon. Or perhaps it was lost by a visitor to the park, Abigail added. Each day, their curiosity grew. and they found themselves weaving stories that turned the unknown into a source of fun and connection. One evening, while watching a movie, their conversation drifted toward imaginative tales about the ring's mysterious owner. What if it belonged to a runaway bride? Ryan mused, his eyes wide with excitement. Or a secret agent who had to leave it behind in a hurry. Abigail countered, chuckling at the thought. Their imaginations ran wild, and they found joy in their creative exchanges. As they laughed and pondered, a knock at the door interrupted their musing, startling them both. The sudden sound broke their reverie, and they exchanged curious glances. Who could that be at this hour? Abigail wondered aloud. Ryan paused the movie, his curiosity piqued. Abigail took a deep breath, heading toward the door, ready to face whatever awaited on the other side. She turned the knob slowly, peeking through the crack before opening it fully. The evening air rushed in, carrying with it the faint sounds of the neighborhood. To her surprise, Abigail opened the door to find the mayor and his visibly uneasy wife standing on her porch. Mayor Morgan. Mrs. Morgan, she greeted, her surprise evident. The mayor smiled warmly, but his wife looked nervous, her hands clasped tightly together. Good evening, Abigail, Mayor Morgan began. We hope we're not intruding. Abigail shook her head, stepping aside to let them in, sensing that something important had brought them to her doorstep. The mayor reminisced briefly before explaining that their visit was prompted by seeing one of Ryan's flyers about the ring. It caught her attention because he hesitated, glancing at his wife, who sighed, her unease growing. Because we believe it might be ours, she finished quietly. Mrs. Morgan hesitantly admitted to losing the ring in the park, confessing her fear of telling anyone. I didn't know how to tell anyone, she said softly, her voice trembling. It was a family heirloom, and I felt so ashamed. Abigail reached out, touching her arm reassuringly. I'm glad you came, she said gently. Ryan, who had been listening intently from the doorway, felt a mix of emotions and knew what he had to do next. He fetched the ring and handed it back to Mrs. Morgan, his actions reflecting his recent lessons in honesty. Here it is, he said, placing the ring gently in her hand. Tears filled Abigail's eyes. Thank you, Ryan, she whispered, her voice trembling. The room grew quiet, the gravity of the moment sinking in. Ryan felt a swell of pride, knowing he had done the right thing. The mayor's wife expressed heartfelt gratitude, while Mayor Morgan shook Ryan's hand. You've shown great courage, he said warmly. Abigail embraced her son, her pride evident. Together, they shared a profound moment of unity, recognizing how honesty and bravery had not only strengthened their bonds but also left a lasting impact on their community.